before you know it, another year has passed and I'm meeting with another consultant and, saying I have the same problem. It's just like a forever revolving door if you don't get to the root cause, if you don't get to the root of the problem. And I mean, you guys know this. Everything starts here in the mind. So the mindset shift needs to happen first, which is what the reframing is. I created my own studio for producing content. And for me, content is not just one thing, right? So it's a collection of like messages, right? And this comes in various forms. So this can include, carousels, posts, captions, hashtags, scripts, recordings, like visual styles, themes, even your typography, and even like I guess the way that you color correct. So color grading is also part of how you deliver said message. And all of these different elements, right, are part of an ecosystem that I was able to craft and create for myself personally because I needed something that fit my creativity needs, if that makes any sense. And, you know, I think we're all creative, right? Creativity is innate for me, but how exactly I express creativity, is unique. And that's the same for everybody. So I really needed some sort of system that supported that uniqueness, right? Because in my personal experience, I've noticed where I'm a little bit weaker when it comes to expressing my creativity. And so being able to craft a tool that supported me in that way has been the most empowering thing that I've discovered in the month of June. Today is June 30th. And I'm sitting here making this, or really lying here making this super casually because it really has made creating content effortless for me. Like it doesn't feel like I need to be performative or overly prepared. Now, granted, I'm still trying to figure out the best way to tweak my messaging so that it does land, in the hearts of my target audience. And I will work on that. But one thing I won't be changing is how I authentically show up. And crafting these tools, thanks to AI and just the advancement of technology, has been, I guess, yeah, the most important part of this journey. So um, I can't say enough how grateful I am for the role that AI has played in lowering barriers that I've faced, right? Particularly when it comes to like coding. That's usually been very gate kept, and now Claude Code and its friends, Codex. Shout out to Codex. Has really been instrumental in really just like exactly what I said, lowering that barrier. So, in June this month, I managed to develop an app that supports my consulting practice. Man, just wow. Oh my gosh. So it's what I created this month has really been what I would consider to be a proof of concept for not just myself, but others who are dealing with maybe a similar operational drag. I use that's my lingo, okay? I'm gonna make more content so that the exact terminology that I use is better understood. So, when I say operational drag, I'm essentially just talking about operational inefficiencies, right? A lot of times that has to do with the system that's already been put in place or lack thereof. And so many times engaging with your own system feels really tough because they are not actually crafted for you specifically. Neurotypicals, and I hesitate with using this phrasing, neurotypicals and those who would be considered neurodivergent really do need different tools. Really, everybody needs their own tools, right? I mean, um, if we can all have things customly built for us, like, why not? And so, taking this mindset into the operations sphere and in the business realm has been a very transformative um, realization. So, as someone who, like I said, I help others optimize their own workflows, I often really overlook my own processes. Crazy, I know. So, I took myself through my own practice, right? Like, I put myself in my client's shoes and I went through my own studio. And just a quick recap, or if you didn't already know, so I have 4 pillars in my methodology, and they are reframe, ownership, alignment, and sustainability, or short, reframe, or C, which is an easier way to look at it. Um, own, for ownership, just like taking that responsibility on. Then alignment, which is aligning is like a fit, right? How do the pieces fit together? Do they fit together? That's what the alignment question um, asks or solves for. And then sustainability is like, does this thing like hold? Will it be able to last or stand the test of time? So it always starts for me in the way that my practice is set up with the reframing, because how you see something then can shape, I guess, the flow for the rest of the stuff. And it really, really, perspective is key. And I personally excel in that regard. That was my strengths that I discovered when I went through my own matrix, that I have, a high level of reframing capability. And so now I was able to, not only did I apply this in multiple areas, but for this specific conversation that I want to have surrounding content creation, I never thought of myself as a content creator. No shade. Well, I don't actually like when people start with no shade, because then they follow up with some shade stuff. But no, I never thought of myself as a content creator, because I don't know, like, I don't even like being on social media for real. I'm an introvert. I do a lot of overthinking. I'm always in my head. I'm very much a recluse. So just thinking of setting up the camera and posting aspects of myself never really dawned on me as something that I would ever have to do in my life. I mean, I don't mind consuming media or content, but I just was not on the creator side. Um, so how does that now work if you have a business? Yeah. See how I had to reframe things. So, as a founder, um a lot of times where content often feels necessary or unnecessary, I guess, a reframing needs to happen, because it is actually important that the right types of content and messaging, gets pushed out to your core audience. And man, when I really like made that switch in my brain, as in a sense that, okay, a lot of really valuable takeaways and insights happen in my consultancy, like in my studio sessions with a client, and then after that, that's where it ends. And that's not ideal, especially if you want to grow your business or your practice. You want to get more customers, you want to get, you know, more visibility, especially. So, I mean, there are obviously 2 ways that you can go about this, right? You can either, create content and use social media as like a way to distribute, or, you can pay for ads or whatever. Referrals as well, actually. I guess there aren't just 2 ways. But for me, you know, I wanted I wanted to be able to express a lot of the revelations and really helpful tidbits that I've learned along my journey and that I've helped others learn or, discover through our sessions together. And really just like have a way to archive them, and so that, clients after working together, they can always have something to refer to, and then others as well who might have a similar problem have, a reference. So yeah, the whole referenceability aspect of things, rather than just keeping all these insights in a trapped private session, was part of what made me need to reframe my thinking when it comes to creating content. So once I was able to reframe content creation for myself, I was able to apply the rest of the pillars, right? So it's reframe, own, align, and sustain. And so, okay, cool. I'm like, well, I'm not a content creator, sure, but I do need to create content as a business owner. So then I need to take on ownership of said content, right? Of the messaging. So now I'm giving myself a task. And then here's where I feel like a lot of business owners really pause or even struggle with when it comes to creating content, because of that whole task thing, right? Because I trust me, before I even started creating my own studio, I took on this task like head on, in the same way that a content creator would, and I found myself spending hours, editing and trying to craft the right captions or trying to find the right hashtags and doing all this research. It was exhausting. I realized I was spending way more time, doing this in this whole content creator type of energy than I was spending, doing my actual job. So it felt, I was getting really annoyed. I was getting really annoyed because I just did not have the time to put in that sense, because that's not where the passion lies for me. The passion for me is more so in the information itself, right, that I'm giving, and then the one-on-one sessions or, group sessions or whatever, really like teaching my framework because of how transformative it's been for me and others. So I was like, okay, well, I do want to take on ownership, but right now it's the way that I'm doing it does not really align. It's not a good fit because I can't sustainably do this. I'm just not going to be able to be consistent if I do it this way. Right? Okay, cool. Now, so already you're seeing, or you can kind of see why these four things kind of need to exist together, these four core pillars, because you can't really, you can't have one without the other. Otherwise, the system's going to collapse. You do want the system to be sustainable. And in order for it to be sustainable, you have to be able to consistently do it. And you're not going to be able to consistently do anything if it's not a good fit for your lifestyle, like if it doesn't fit with your life and how your brain normally works, or what your daily activities look like, if it's conflicting in that sense. So we've got the reframing down, which was able to help us understand the need for it, and then the ownership part down, essentially, right? Because I do need to take on the responsibility, right? If I'm going to make sure that the messaging that gets pushed out is aligned with my core values and my methodology and reflects my practice as accurately as it can. So then I felt like, okay, well, then I need to go back into my studio. I need to go back and consult again on myself because, well, what's next? Like, how do I solve my operations problem? And after my session with myself, I realized that, oh, well, I can build a custom studio that eliminates all the different problems that I feel like, or that I considered problems, right? Like it solves for all the editing. It makes sure that all the branding type of requirements are in place. I'm able to still add that human centric design, that human centric approach, while still leveraging the tech resources, right, within this custom studio that I've built. And that was really important. So building it in the month of June has been really the solution, because now for me creating content is not like it's not, I don't even have to think that hard because of the way that I designed it for myself. So I like to do a brain dump initially. Like I said, I exist in my head a lot. So whenever things come, I need a place to be able to capture however they come, right? If it's messy, if it's in fragments, whatever. So whether it's, typing out the ideas, or, the details in a notes app or a journaling app, or maybe, doing like a take one record session where I just talk to the camera, allow myself to repeat stuff, stutter, whatever, pause, as like a brain dump, and then do a transcription refinement, and then do a take two. So like all of those different little ways to just get the stuff out of my head first, and then have a refined take, was something I had to keep in mind. And I knew that those are the different ways that my own personal studio needs to be able to support me. So I came through the process, not just with like my strategy mind, because I am a strategist first and foremost, um, but also allowing the tool to assist with the execution. So that way, I, as a human element, still provides the foundation, right? Like my tool's not creating the content for me in the sense that it's coming up with ideas or things like that. No, like I'm feeding it with what's necessary, and then what it's doing is packaging it and polishing it, and then making that whole just pushing out content so much easier and less taxing for me. So yeah, it's, man, it like software is really, if you're neurodivergent, it's gonna be your best tool. We are in an age of technology right now where it's really for us. Anything that you can possibly think of that you feel like might be a weakness for you, or that you struggle with, I promise you, it's only a struggle because there's just not a flow, like a workflow or a system that fits you, that suits you, that like meshes with who you are and how you operate. And I'm so passionate about this because it really has changed things for me. And again, I'm just using content as an example, but I can give you multiple examples. I can even use client examples, but I don't know, they might see this and not want to share. I'm not really sure. But yeah, there's so many scenarios in which it's so important to know yourself first, figure out what it is you like, what you can do, what you can't do, what you like to do. And this is more so about identifying what what you would consider your passions, right? And then really crafting the ecosystem around that to like really support it in a way that's sustainable and not draining to you. Because once you feel like, oh, this is work, once it feels like work, it's officially not going to be sustainable. But if it doesn't feel like work, if it fits in your creative process, if it's something that just naturally aligns with ease for you, you're going to be able to consistently show up. It's gonna be something that, without a doubt, like you're gonna have no friction, or at least little to no friction. So yeah, like I really do like to practice what I preach. And as somebody who I have all these advisory like tidbits and information, I had to like direct all of that towards myself as well. And it really enabled me to be able to create my own tool that is like, oh, well, now I'm able to offer more than just, roadmaps to success. I can actually build out the necessary tools that are needed to help you along that road. And execution is easy when the system to operate and execute is easy for you. And what's easy for you might not be easy for the next person, and what's easy for the next person might not be easy for you. That's why I believe in custom solutions. And so, yeah, I really created a fully functional system. And I know everyone's making content left and right about, personal operating systems and, their personal business dashboards and things like that. Same, me too, right? I do have that. I built that for others as well, for businesses. But this one specifically really hit a different way for me, because we're talking about content. We're talking about something that I never really thought to claim or to take responsibility for. And the moment I was able to, I saw the need to develop something very specific to solve that. So within my own system, right, I have a carousel editor, thumbnail editor, it refines my scripts. There's the color grading assist. It suggests what time to post when. Now, mind you, I don't follow all of the recommendations strictly. I still am very laissez-faire with things. I'm very much whimsical in my approach to like life in general. But the fact that it has all of the different, there's not a time that I can sit and just spend hours trying to figure out anything when it comes to content, because I have a place where I capture, like I really have a repository of just ideas that come to me that can easily be transformed into content, right? And transforming something into content that in a space that has been trained and programmed on you. So like my space knows my framework, it understands my consulting practice, it understands my voice, all of those things. So it's now doing the heavy lifting for me. It's my only job is to be inspired, to come to it with inspiration and ideas and whatever, and that to me is easy. That comes natural to me. So yeah, I'm gonna make more videos breaking down each of the different pillars more specifically. But yeah, creating content and sharing my process has really been crucial for, visibility, of course. It's also how I expect to gain more credibility and, gives me the ability to teach both my clients and myself, because I'm always learning. I mean, that's what life is about, right? It's a journey. And in teaching, you're also learning and gaining a deeper understanding on the very topic that you're teaching. So I appreciate teaching for its that duality that it provides. So yeah, like that was really a pivot for me, applying that framework to myself in this way, because I do apply it on in other areas of my life. But yeah, I really took it because I was frustrated with the whole content thing. I was like, well, obviously I need to grow my business. I need more clients. I need to be able to reach more people. And I've always known that it was going to be a content thing, but I was like, man, no way. I just felt such a resistance to it that I was like, well, I wonder if this can solve it. And it did. It did. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I don't know. Like, let me know. Are you all hip with AI? I don't. Where's everybody at as far as tech? Like, do you feel like it's intimidating? Are you embracing it? Do you even know where to start? A lot of people are starting their own businesses and, embarking on this entrepreneurial journey, which I encourage. I did the whole corporate America thing, and it just really felt so restrictive for me and the way that my mind operates. I need freedom to express my thoughts and ideas. I can't do rigidity. I just can't. It's me personally, but I'm only speaking for myself. And thankfully, a lot of the people that I've been able to work with have similar ways of thinking, and they exist in the world in a similar way. And so if I'm finding that I'm having these problems, then it only makes sense for me to assume that at least one other person or a couple others or maybe many others, who knows, might have a similar problem. So what use am I in this world if I found a solution to the problem and I am not able to share it? And it's in sharing said solution that I clearly need to make content. So yeah. So cool. Love it. Love tech. Love where we are. And I'm like I said, I'm gonna make more videos. I'm gonna do more tutorials, especially surrounding those four pillars: reframe, own, align, sustain. Because all four really are needed for the solution to really be a solution, right? Otherwise it's just a band-aid. And I think the reframing gets to the root of the problem a lot better than just taking the problem for face value. Because had I gone to any other consultancy saying that, okay, well, I have a content creation problem, right? Like my problem is I need to create content. Well, then a lot of the solutions that would be thrown at me would be like a tech stack, like I would now be overwhelmed or inundated with tools and systems that, yeah, if you look at the market data, do work for people, but it's not going to work for me because I'm going to pick up and drop them as easily as they were introduced to me. It's not a sustainable solution for me because I needed something to understand me first and how I think and how I saw content. Because if I had never had that reframing, I would have always still seen content creation as just like another task that I have to do, that I could easily just, when I get overwhelmed, ignore. And before you know it, another year has passed and I'm meeting with another consultant and, saying I have the same problem. It's just like a forever revolving door if you don't get to the root cause, if you don't get to the root of the problem. And I mean, you guys know this. Everything starts here in the mind. So the mindset shift needs to happen first, which is what the reframing is. And then it's easy to take ownership once you've really reframed it and like it's the why definition. So yeah, that was June for me, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm gonna make more content. I'm going to come as I am. I'm just not going to be overly pretentious, overly professional, whichever environment I'm in. I now at least have the tools that I need to just pick up the camera, set it up, and just start talking without having to, you know, overperform. Especially now, like with AI on the rise, like, do you guys really you guys actually really prefer AI generated content? That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, not to say there's anything wrong with it. I mean, if it's entertaining and the storyline is great, that's cool. But what about the human, I guess, aspect of it all? You guys don't want to support that? You guys don't want, because if, like, at some point you have to look at yourself and wonder where you fit into this new world that we're venturing in. You don't want to get lost, right? So it's like, okay, well, how do you honor who you are, the human aspect of yourself, while still, you know, bridging it or merging it with all of the technology that we have available to us now and all the tools, in a way that is sustainable for you, in a way that makes sense, in a way that allows your values to shine and not, yeah. Okay.